Some things in life are too complex. Too many curves, too many paths, too many things trying to be over the top and out there, even when there's really no point. Well, here's something that's not going to be like that. This is the new Keylice65, a very simple yet multi-configurable Alice-style keyboard that can virtually be used in any space or setup, allowing you to break free, be comfortable, anywhere, anytime. This is what we got. Straight out of the packaging, we are welcomed with a massive custom-made carrying case. Even though this was designed to carry the keyless, I believe it could be used for more than just that. For example, just like carrying a larger board like this Violetta. Now, digging into the things we have on the bottom portion of the case, we have our main Keylice65 case, the battery component bundled with the Bluetooth antenna and the polycarb covering, and a small magnetic pouch. In this pouch, we get all of our assorted screws, gaskets, and the daughter board as well. Scooching over to the other side, we have a pocket that holds the rest of our Keylice65. Here we have a soldered and hot swap PCB, an assortment of foams, an alu full plate and half plate, a polycarb full plate, and lastly the FR4 full plate and half plate. Since we have quite a bit of stuff, we'll be streaming a soldered build at a later time on our Twitch channel. The Keylice65 has some pretty interesting specs. First up being the most obvious part, this is both a wired and a Bluetooth keyboard, so you can use this wherever you'd like with barely any limitations. The PCB that we have for the Keylice65 has no flex cuts, and is also 1.6mm, so this will be a stiffer board. As far as support goes for the layout on our PCB, we have quite a good setup. There are step caps, split backspace, and a 2U spacebar for the left side, with a 1.25 FN key. But this is where it gets interesting. We have a set of arrow keys that can be replaced for a 1.5U win key and control, which can be super intriguing for many people. If you'd like to customize the layout, VIA is available, but sadly there is no QMK support. There's also a Chinese online configurator, and if you'd like to see those options, they'll be in the description below. Now our board has two mounting methods. We have gasket mounting with support for the whole plate, half plate, and plateless, and we have top mounting which is support for either whole plate or half plate. Again, the Keylice65 comes with an FR4 plate, but you can purchase additional plates such as alu and polycarbonate on their add-on page. So here's what we can customize with our board. The case colors come in the option of ice blue, silver, gray, black, and e-white, while our anodized aluminum weights come with the option of black, ice blue, and silver, with the additional option of having these borders be silver or gold. Also, there is a selection of premium weights as well. There is a stainless steel silver and black weight, a sandblasted brass weight, and the most intriguing one yet, a cracked black stainless steel weight. After all that, this board comes down to a price of $320. This is definitely a pretty heavy price tag for a 65% Alice board, but don't let that discourage you if you're a fanatic for the Alice layout and the handiness of a Bluetooth keyboard. As far as configs go, we really do have a lot of options to look at, but since Keylice comes with an FR4 plate, that's what we'll be using to do our sound tests. The first one we'll be doing is without foam, and the second will be with foam. Also, we'll be using some new and lubed pine switches within both configs. When the time comes for me to choose a plate material, I usually don't stick with FR4, but with how the Keylice sounds, I definitely think it's worth a try. With how it sounds, our foamless build doesn't have much hollowness to it, and sounds incredibly sturdy as well. There is no pinging going on within this board, and everything overall sounds very well rounded and consistent. This obviously doesn't exactly compare much to a more premium foamless board, but the foamless config that we went with sounds way better than I thought it would. I also didn't expect the feeling of the board to be as good as it is too. Feeling around the board, I noticed that when using the gasket mounts, the PCB doesn't move at all. Sometimes there would be a gasket mounted board where the PCB would shift a little when typing, and at times those little shifts would get annoying quickly. Another thing to point out is that there is no bounce or flex to the Keylice. The gaskets may allow the board to move up and down ever so slightly, but I still say this is a very stiff board even when typing on an FR4 plate. I'm sure that if you use a polycarb plate there will be some added movement, but the 1.6mm PCB will probably stop you from flexing a bit too much. Overall, this keyboard definitely has a more plain and simple design, but with these design features you can really mesh this keyboard into any workspace you have. Also, when designing this keyboard, they really put in some thought into placement details and the whole build process. The battery component has a very clean and sleek place to hold the battery without putting pressure on the PCB. A lot of the time when I see a board that integrates both a Bluetooth and wired setup, the battery usually just sits right underneath the PCB, and sometimes there isn't enough space to put foam without it being directly pushed into the PCB, causing some unneeded stress. The whole point of the board is to be simple yet sleek, so unless you're looking for a board that is extremely out there with personality elements, this keyboard should be just right for you. In my own opinion, I believe this keyboard deserves recognition for its quality, and it really surprised me. Not only did I not expect to get a massive carrying case, but I also did not expect the board to be as high quality as it was. The machining was very precise, and there was pretty good heft to the board too. Everything fits very nice and snug within each other, and the overall build is very organized. So even though this board is definitely a bit expensive for its size, Its simplicity and smaller design factors really deserve some recognition, and no matter what, its quality should make it worth its price tag.